Hello and welcome to the Piping Show from the National Piping Centre right here in Glasgow. We've got a really interesting show this afternoon. Someone who does a huge amount of work here behind the scenes and isn't always on this side of the camera is Helen Urquhart, who is the marketing manager and events manager here at the National Piping Centre. So I'm going to be chatting to her just a bit about her job, mostly with Piping Live and some of the other really interesting projects that she's working on. Of course, if you like what we're doing here at the Piping Show, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. We have just reached the 2,000 subscribers number. I hope you'll enjoy my conversation with Helen Urquhart later in the show. But at the moment, let's go to Helen Urquhart for this week's news.
Last week, Piping Live launched its programme of evening concerts and week of recitals and other events. You can get your tickets now over at pipinglive.co.uk. For people who will want to watch the live stream, news is coming out soon about that, and you can check out more on our website and social media. Pipe Idol contest for under 21 solo pipers, which is sponsored by Fred Morrison Pipes, closes on Friday the 2nd of June. If you have a young person that would like to take part, head over to bagpipe.news and search for Pipe Idol to find out all the requirements. On Saturday the 20th of May, the RSPBA Dundee, Perth and Angus Pipe Band contest took place at Dollar Academy. Inveraray District Pipe Band won the Grade 1, with Peoplesford, Boghall and Bathgate winning the drumming. The National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland is looking for trainee tutors. Young people aged 18 to 25 can gain real-world professional development experience through this opportunity. You can find out more at nypbs.co.uk/opportunities to find out what's involved in the trainee tutor programme. The Royal Conservatoire of Scotland's BMUS Piping Degree programme has its public exams taking place next Thursday and Friday, the 1st and 2nd of June. These are for 3rd and 4th year students on the Piping Degree course. If you check out the National Piping Centre social media channels, you can find out more information about these events and who is playing when.
Hello there. Today I'd like to talk to you about Pipe Major William Ferguson of the Clan-MacRae Society Pipe Band. Willie Ferguson, or Fergie as he was known in his day, learned his piping in the Boys Brigade and went on to join the 7th Battalion of the Highland Light Infantry. It was there that he served under William Farquhar, who went on to found the City of Glasgow Pipe Band, which we'll talk about more in a moment. Upon Farquhar MacRae's retirement from the military, Willie Ferguson went on to become the Pipe Major of the 7th Battalion of the Highland Light Infantry. And it was during that time that he wrote most of the sort of tunes that we associate with him. Tunes like the Athol and Bredalbin Highland Gathering, Dorney Ferry, Kintara to Elarish. And of course, he also composed a tune that we've talked about on this program previously, the Australian Ladies. Now, I mentioned that Farquhar MacRae had founded the City of Glasgow Pipe Band. He did so in 1913. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1916. Following the war, William Ferguson would become the Pipe Major of the City of Glasgow Pipe Band in 1920. In that same year, they decided to change the name because there were some confusion issues in the newspapers with who was winning contests. Was it the City of Glasgow Pipe Band, or was it the band we talked about last week, the City of Glasgow Police Pipe Band? So that was one reason for the name change. Another reason was to honour Farquhar MacRae in changing the name to the Clan-MacRae Society Pipe Band. The band also already wore the MacRae tartan and had close associations with the Clan-MacRae Society. Willie Ferguson would go on to lead the Clan-MacRae Society to win 4 World Championship titles at Cowell. We have to remember that the Worlds before 1947 were held at the Cowell Gathering. The band in its day was highly regarded as one of the best pipe bands around and pushed the limits of what a competing pipe band could sound like. In 1929, Ferguson, a carpenter to trade, fell down a stairwell and due to his injuries had to step back as the Pipe Major, and at that time went to recover in Canada. And what I have here today is a pocket watch that belonged to William Ferguson that was a gift from the Clan-MacRae Society Pipe Band. And we can see on the cover here, WF for William Ferguson. And if we pop it open, you can see the watch face. Interestingly, the internals of this watch were made in the United States, but the actual casing for the watch was made in Birmingham. If there's any watch aficionados out there, feel free to email me. I did a wee bit of research on this. if we look at the back face, we can see the McRae clan crest. And most interestingly, if we look inside, make sure I have this the right way round, there's an inscription that reads, "Presented to William Ferguson by the Clan McRae Society in recognition and appreciation of his renowned services as pipe major of the Clan McRae Society Pipe Band, World's Champions 21, 22, 23, 25, on the occasion of his departure for Canada, 19/4/29. If you'd like to see this watch, it is on display in the museum here at the National Piping Centre.
So, Helen, this isn't weird, is it? Just sitting doing an interview.
Not weird at all.
Yeah.
No.
So we obviously work together very closely every day of the week and for a long time. And I think there's lots of people out in the piping world that know of you and know what you do. Certainly a lot of the artists with Piping Live and anyone that engages with us online probably knows what you do, but it's good to have you in for an actual chat and get you on this side of things.
Being on this side of the camera doesn't come naturally. I quite like being the other side, making people do this stuff, but yeah, it's quite nice.
So first of all, tell us what you do here, if you can, like in a couple of sentences.
Oh, it's wild and varied, but I guess I look after all of the marketing side of things, so posters and branding and leaflets, and then a lot of the event production for Piping Live. But that includes everything from visiting colleges for volunteering to ordering the marquee and working with the sound team, working out the live stream and how that all works so that it will work smoothly on the day. There's a lot goes into it.
Yeah. As I quite often say, that you're the responsible adult of the organisation. And how long have you been with the Piping Centre?
So I started here in 2006, and what was initially meant to be a 3-month contract, I was meant to finish in January 2007, and 6 years later was when I left for a few years, and then came back in 2015, and been here ever since. Yeah,
and you do a splendid job, I must say. So let's go for Piping Live first of all.
Yep.
I always think it's amazing. Before I started working at the Piping Centre, and even in the first couple of years, I was travelling a lot as a musician and doing festivals and gigs, and a lot of the time you go on stage, you get somewhere, you go on stage and you play your music, and then you leave and you go to your hotel, and that's all cool, and you don't realise until you do it the amount of work that goes on to make that hour happen on the stage.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about how Piping Live kind of works for you, and how you schedule all of that kind of production side of things.
So it's definitely a year-round thing as well. Even during Piping Live, you're sort of already making notes for the next year, things that you'll do differently or wee tweaks here and there to make it run even more smoothly. We do like to be fairly swan-like about it, gliding along on the top, all looks lovely, and underneath we're just paddling like crazy. But things like, so it starts with, we've got a big spreadsheet. Nothing happens without the spreadsheet. And that's where we lay out the street cafe and the evening concerts and all of the extra events like the Clasp and the Kelvin Grove, and just so we can see it all on one piece of paper. And then working with you guys to sort of, look at what it's going to look like in terms of international artists, and then now having to work with somebody about visas for the international artists, which is a whole added extra layer of fun. And then you're just sort of looking at the kind of practical stuff like the marquees and the sound team. I think one of the most challenging years was 2020, when we pivoted from completely in person. We had a couple of wee bits of live stream to moving it fully online with the paywall integrated, so that, it was such a tough year, and there were no live events that we could have, and bringing in just a wee bit of ticket revenue made all the difference. But knowing how that worked, and I felt like I had to be the person that knew how it worked, so that when people were coming to us, I could explain it to them, which is always a bit hard, being just one step ahead.
I know. I often see your face kind of drop sometimes when myself or John or some of the other guys go, we've got this great idea, and it's like, you know, you're the person that makes these things happen, you know.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing to see the behind the scenes stuff, and I think people are really interested in that. It's like, you know, as I say, you see a person on stage performing or a band performing, but the amount of work that goes into that. I'm thinking some of the memorable stories from Piping Live that we've had missing shoes from a piper who shall remain nameless.
He also got lost at the airport on the way in, and Kenny had to wander around for a good couple hours just to find him, to bring him here, to take him back with one less shoe.
We had the harpsichord year.
That was an interesting, the harpsichord removal plan still is a highlight. It was because it needed to be certain places in advance and then have time to sit and rest, but it only made it into the lift by this much at either end. So we had to hire a van, and there was a whole world of pain.
The orchestral bass drum.
Yep.
They were both Italian bands that had the
One was Belgian.
Oh, was it Belgian?
One was Italian. I think my favourite one ever was the year we had the young Czech guys over, and it turned out that one of them was learning the gaita from YouTube videos, but it was Ruben Alban Garcia that he was learning from, and then he was here as well, and about 10 o'clock at night we found him downstairs having a lesson, but he didn't speak much English, neither of them, but I don't quite know how it was working, but they were having the best time, and like that's the sort of stuff that you're like, can't even plan for that, but give them a room.
It's brilliant.
It's great.
And how have you seen it? I think it's quite easy, I guess, for us on the kind of artistic music side of things and the performance side of things to kind of track how the festival's changed and grown. But how do you perceive that change and growth from your side of it?
I think there's a lot of things that have made it almost easier to connect with the festival. So as we've grown our social media and the online ticketing and YouTube and all of these different ways that we've sort of grown and developed the way that we present the festival. But it's made it also trickier in terms of we want it to be really good quality. We need the box office to do these things. So for this year, we've moved to a new provider who can let you all check out all at the once, because that was something that we didn't know was really a problem until you're looking at the feedback. But even things like online surveys to get the feedback from people. So there's a lot of these things that I feel like people feel quite connected to Piping Live. Like they use it as it's the meeting place where they come to the street cafe to see pals they haven't seen all year, and especially this year and last year they haven't seen them in 2-3 years in a really tough time. But actually just connecting with people, and they now feel like they can come to us and say, have you thought about this? Would you like to change that? And just a lot of the technology things that have made things easier but also more tricky at the same time. Yeah.
No, I get that, and I'm really looking forward to the festival this year. I think there does feel as if there's a real buzz about it. I think about, of course, we kept the festival going. 20, 21 and 22 was almost back normal, but when you think about it, actually, you know, this time last year people were still a bit unsure about travel and things like that. So I think it does really feel as if it's going to be a bit of a special year. What are you looking forward to in terms of the festival?
My least favourite and most favourite thing at the same time is the big band. Yeah. It's always really stressful up to it, and you know, 150 people all individually coming together, you know, we have to sort their t-shirts and their registration and make sure their names are spelt right and that they've all got the right information to get there. But the minute we step off, and touch wood, it's never rained yet for a big band, it's amazing and joyful, and like 150 people making noise for Piping Live in the city centre of Glasgow. It's always a highlight.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
It kind of brings together people that wouldn't normally get to play at the festival. They wouldn't, you know, they don't normally get to perform, or you know, maybe some of the bands aren't playing at the Worlds, and this is their opportunity to take part. And I kind of love that. Yeah. And it's coming back this year. We're just not quite there yet with the organisation.
Yeah, we're almost there, and you know, it's a very symbolic start to that Monday of the festival, isn't it? And
it is.
Yeah, so we're all looking forward to it. Give us where we can get tickets.
So tickets are available now for in person only. Live stream also coming later. We're still working on a few things. but it's www.pipinglive.co.uk. If you'd like to volunteer, there are volunteers that are coming from all over the world, and there's a form on the website for people to volunteer if you've got a few hours to spare. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to some of the amazing concerts that we've got this year. Just a great lineup, and I kind of can't wait for it all to come back properly and full in
We'll see what you're saying come the kind of first week in August.
Yeah, I think might want to have a wee lie down in the dark room by then, but it'll be fine.
So that's brilliant, and I guess there's a good thing we should be talking about as well is the kind of research project that you've been very much involved in over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a bit about that?
So until Friday 2nd of June, we have a survey open called Women in Piping and Drumming, and it's looking for experiences from pipers, tenor drummers, snare drummers, bass drummers who all have experienced taking part in the scene in Scotland. So that could be traditional musicians, pipe bands, solo piping, however you've engaged with the scene. And also if you're a parent or a sister or a mum of somebody that takes part, we would love people to fill in the survey through our website, just looking at your experiences and how you have engaged with it. If there's a reason you stopped playing, why was that? And it's all to help us form a new strategy around bringing more women into the scene and keeping them playing in whatever capacity. Yeah,
something I feel very strongly about as well, and I think this research is absolutely essential, and just finding out information and asking people directly, what could be done to make this more accessible and easier for you to continue.
I think that's part of it, is that we think we know what the issues are going to be, but actually until we ask the questions, we just don't know what's going to come out. And then that means we can start planning and putting in new pathways for people, just to make it as open and accessible at the times that people need it to be, so that they can continue learning. Yeah,
it's great, and I think it's going to be interesting stuff, and ultimately, to me, it's exciting that whatever information we get, that we can put things in place to prevent barriers to learning, and I think that's it's a really important and well needed piece of work.
And actually it circles back nicely to Piping Live, because we're doing an initial presentation of the findings during the festival, so that we can present it to the audience that are here and get some more feedback and talk more to the people that we want to find out more from.
Yeah, excellent. And there's been a good number of responses to the survey so far, I believe.
We've had over 200 responses so far, which is amazing. And it is open until Friday the 2nd of June, so we're hoping to have another 100 or so take part before then, which would be an amazing outcome. And really give us a rich variety of experiences across the whole platform. And it can be people based outside the UK, but just as long as they have taken part in Scotland, because otherwise it would be too broad and we wouldn't be able to pull together the right conclusions. So we're starting with Scotland and then hopefully in future broaden it out.
Great. Well, it's a great piece of work, and it involves lots of people here at the National Piping Centre in terms of the input that's gone into the study so far, and also the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland have been helping us out with the ethics of the whole thing. So hopefully there'll be some really good things coming of that, and we'll be interested to see what we can talk about at Piping Live.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting talk to see what's initially coming out.
Yeah, and we have to talk about it. Yeah, it's good to talk.
Yeah,
I think one of the phone companies used that, didn't they?
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
So it's been great catching up. What do you think? Future. That's its 20th edition of Piping Live.
I can't believe it's 20. Year 4 was my first festival, and I can't believe that we've made it all the way to 20. Yeah. Purely the planning that goes into it year on year, it's terrifying. But I would just love it to get to that 30, 40, 50, because I think it's a real asset to the city. It is such a different event from its sister in the World Pipe Band Championships, and we just showcase different aspects of the tradition, and I think they really complement each other well, and hopefully long may it continue.
It's great. I was watching a debate in the Scottish Parliament, not a debate, a kind of information session with the Tattoo and the Edinburgh International Festival and the Fringe, and they were talking about 75 years of existence. So
Yep, it's the next aim.
that could be the next one, eh?
Yep, I think.
Well, on behalf of everyone here and everyone that kind of takes part in the Piping Centre kind of family and life, thank you for everything you do, and I'm sure we'll see you, or everyone will see you, kind of running about frantically during Piping Live.
But don't be afraid to stop and say hello. That's one of my favourite things. People that go, "Oh, you're Helen," that I've had, So it's really nice, and long may it continue.
What do we always say?
I don't foresee any problems.